Oh, I think we're live. Yeah. All right. The echo is crazy, but friends, welcome to episode 2000 of Love Serve Care. And I am your host of this program, Alex Dumas. And thrilled that you will get to be here with me today to celebrate this milestone. This is something that has been now 5+ years, going on year 6 in the making. I'll tell you a little bit about the story of this podcast in a moment. I want to make sure that this is broadcasted out to friends, to people, to make sure this is going on smoothly. This is my first time going live on YouTube, and it was quite a pressure cooker. Talk about performing under pressure. Here we are. We capture moments as they have. See, I'm learning all these new things. I'm seeing all this stuff here. This is very interesting and fabulous for me. So hang on tight for a moment. Let me make sure I get the word out to my peoples on LinkedIn and on the Facebooks and all the social media worlds. I promise this is going to be fun in a second. Just bear with me for a moment. So as we're going along this thing, love, serve, care. What does that even mean? What does that even have to do with business, with speaking, with coaching, with life in general? Well, these are 3 principles that I learned about many moons ago. So I'll tell you this quick story here, right? Going back to about 2014 when I was working in disaster recovery in New York, the CEO of the company who we were working for, he gifted people a book. It was called The Carpenter, written by John. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking out his name right now. Hold on. John Gordon. Wow. I was about to say John Grissom, but John Gordon, he's a famous coach, he speaker, he does a lot of stuff, right? And this book seemed interesting. It was a small read, and it stayed in like my car, stayed in like the library, the bookshelf at my house. Didn't look at it, didn't think about it, just whatever. And then years going by, kind of seeing it from here and there, time to time, and wondering, all right, maybe I should read this book, but distracted, other things to do, more important things, other stuff I wanted to put on my plate. And then eventually 2020, that year that most people don't want to even think about, had plenty of time. And I thought, let me read this book. And I was blown away by not only just the story, how he crafted it, but also these 3 principles related to the main character: love, service, and care. And I thought that would be a cool name for a podcast. So I want to put the pin in there, and I'm going to take you back even further. So we're going to rewind time, and we're going to go back to 2018 when I first stepped into the podcast arena. Actually, my wife and I co-hosted our own show for nearly 2 years, from 2018 to we stopped it somewhere in 2020. And we were doing a bi-weekly show at first. It was us with one episode, just us kind of going back and forth, our banter. Then later on in the week, it would be me interviewing somebody. So we did that for a while. 1 episode of us, 1 episode interview, 2 a week. And it got to a point where it didn't make sense. It wasn't serving us. We scaled it back to 1 episode a week. Then we kind of removed the interviews. And then eventually we both just mutually came to the agreement that it's time to stop this thing. Let's just let it go. It's not serving us. But I had like that podcast itch. I had that bug, right? I wanted to keep sharing some thoughts and keep doing this. And it wasn't until November 13th, 2020, where the vision, the idea came to me. I recorded an episode. It was 3 minutes long, 3 minutes and 21 seconds long. And I put it out into the world. And I thought, why not do it again? And I just started to go with this run of it. And quickly it became part of me, because you might think to yourself, well, how much is there, right? How much content do you have to share? Where are you getting this stuff from? And I love to share that it's coming from everywhere. inspirations everywhere. I can drive somewhere, catch an insight. I have two kiddos, so there's plenty of things that they teach me all the time. My wife, my dogs, family, it doesn't matter. I get inspired everywhere, whether it's being coached, whether it's doing the coaching, whether it's mentoring, whether it's speaking, whether it's being an attendee. But I'm getting it everywhere. I'm getting all these downloads, my ears to the scanner, as I like to call it, and I'm looking for the gold. I'm looking for the things that are amazing. So that's the story of the podcasting journey, then the love serve care journey. And you are here now with me on episode 2000. And 2000 is a big number. It may seem overwhelming. I didn't think I was going to get to this number when I first started. I thought maybe this is going to be the thing I do for like a year or two, just kind of getting these things out. I had lots of written poetry and scribble scrabbles, and I would share that on each episode. And I think my own unconscious way of making sure that never gets seen again is by not upgrading an account I had with a different RSS feed. I was using Podbean or Buzzsprout at the time. Didn't pay for like a higher plan, so every 90 days these episodes would get deleted. It would have these pieces of me, this I'm gonna say a soundtrack, but this in-depth look into how I saw the world. And there was about 600 of these scribblings through different notebooks. Every episode, like I said, I would record it. It was an audio program only at this point. I would have the poems, the thoughts on paper written into the show notes, and then move on with my day. So I share all that because you might be thinking, well, I only see a couple of hundred episodes here. I also need to migrate some of the other episodes from my other YouTube channel onto this, because this is going to be like my main hub of content, of whether it's speaking, interviews, podcasts, all that and the above. It's going to be here on Speaker Alex Dumas. And I looked at this 2000th episode as just it's a way to celebrate, right? I love to celebrate the milestones. I'm good with celebrating other people, and they got to remember I get to be celebrated too. So with all that said, let me tell you about commitment, because that's what love serve care means to me. That's what it means for me. That's how it's showing up in my life. Like I said, every single day. And I'll admit, I've cheated a couple of times because I put in some what I call blast from the past, some reruns, if you want to think of it that way, when I'm out on vacation with my family, or if I have speaking engagements, if I know that I'm going to be away for a long period of time, if I can't do the show live and upload it and get it into the world as I want to, then I just let it go and put old things in there. I hate to say old things, but previous recordings in there, and then keep the momentum going. But let's just say that's about 100, maybe 150 of those episodes, right? Of the 2000. For the most part, every day, recording something, upload. And it was simple for these first 5 years and change, because it was just audio only. So I didn't have to look at the camera. I didn't have to engage this way. I didn't have to do what I do. And then I figured, you know what? I'm a speaker. What do speakers do? We speak. Get on camera. People need to see the face, need to hear the voice, need to see and feel the energy. And January 23rd of this year, 2026, I decided it's going to be just video only. So that's why this is available on YouTube only now. Even though it was on Spotify, iHeartMedia, Apple Podcasts, but now YouTube. So if you want to get more of this inspiration, this is not going to be, these episodes are not going to be as long as this. Most episodes are 3 minutes and 21 seconds, right? Just 3 minutes, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Easy as that. 1, 2, 3. Simple, out the door, we get it moving. And now with that said, the video process is a challenge, and it's been an adjustment. I'm now getting into the groove of figuring out how to make these thumbnails every day, getting clever with it. What are the captions, hashtags, SEO friendly stuff, so that this bad boy can grow, because I love doing it, but I also want to make sure that it's serving me in the sense of people are paying attention to it, people are watching, people are subscribing, they're leaving reviews, they're leaving comments, and that this web, this ecosystem of what I'm building, it grows, it becomes what it needs to be. So with all that said, commitment. right? We're gonna get back to this word commitment. If you know anything about me, that's the game I play, where we get seriously focused, we get seriously intentional about what we're doing, about who we're being, and the difference we're making for others. Lots of things moves. A lot of things can shift really quickly. What may what someone may think might take weeks and months, well, we can accelerate that, close that gap down with serious commitment. Because when we're committed, I want you to think about this. Think about a time in your life where you've been committed. And I don't just mean you've been kind of like tiptoeing, wishy washy. I would like for this to happen. Hopefully, something good happens. Wouldn't it be nice? Gee golly. No, but when you had something you had to do, when you had a deadline, when you had something that was non-negotiable, like think about it this way: for the women in the world, when you get pregnant, there's no, for the most part, there's no backing out of that, right? Once you get to like that ninth month, it's like, all right, we're having this baby. The doctor kind of gives you like a date or so, like, all right, this is when we think the baby's gonna come, and that's that. Like, baby's coming, whether you're pushing them out or you're getting the baby, a certain C-section taken from you. It's happening. And when we think about commitment, it's the same way. Like, what's that thing you're giving birth to that it's happening? Get out the way, either get on board or get out the way. Because I'm doing it, I'm making this happen. You hear about this about entrepreneurs all the time, where they burn the boats, they make a serious commitment on going all in, right? And or even athletes going all in. I'm just gonna ball out all day. I'm gonna watch film. I'm gonna train. I'm gonna eat right, and it doesn't feel like anything's happening. That's probably the most frustrating part of it, especially with our world now, where it's instant overnight celebrity. But you don't know how many years it took for somebody to become overnight. I went viral. That's the focus now. How do I get viral? How do I get all these eyes and clicks and attention on me? You could have that, and you could also make an impact. What's the difference you're making for somebody else? You're not making a difference for somebody else. Then why should we pay attention? Why should we even look at you? Anyway, commitment. I'm fortunate enough that for now 20 years of me and my wife being together and 16 being married, commitment shows up in a lot of ways. Commitment shows up in ways in the days that you don't want to do something. Oh, I don't want to go to the store for honey. I don't want to like pick up this. I don't want to do that. But you honor that person, not out of obligation, but that's because you've sworn, you pledged in a covenant. This is what I'm doing. I'm here for you. I'm your road dog. I'm your teammate. Your partners for life. That's how it happens. Now I ask you, I share all that and ask you this: what would it look like if you were laser focused and committed into your business? Maybe you're looking to become a professional speaker. What does that look like? Well, we can boil it down to the metrics, right? Without judgment, it's just data, it's just information. Doesn't mean anything about you. But we can look at how many times you're reaching out to, putting out proposals out there. How many talks, how many speeches, how many keynotes, how many breakouts have you done in the past month? How much money have you asked for? How much money have you collected? How many referrals have you received? And how many of those people did you reach out to? Did you thank them? Did you also have conversations with them, right? Just all these different metrics you can put out. And it's all going to boil and share the same thing, whether it's the results you want or you didn't get. And even if it didn't get it right now, tracking these seeds of what you've planted, how it shows up. Right? I can tell you stories for days about, well, I contacted somebody months ago, and all of a sudden now here we are, they've invited me to a stage or they connected me with somebody else, right? It's these different bridges of this thing we can call like taproot. Most people are focused on going wide. I need to get everybody. I need to go all over the place versus really being focused on, all right, I'm working with, just for example, like human resources professionals, learning development organizations, nonprofit associations, right? That's what I focus on. So now I can remove the distraction of, well, I want you to speak for my group here and I want you to be there. It might be a good opportunity, but it doesn't serve you for the long run of who I'm actually targeting, who I'm looking to speak with, right? Whether it's school professionals, athletes, uh, that's the focus. So I got to ask you about your commitment. Can you get your commitment to go wild? And what I mean by wild is just uncaged, unleashed, totally just going for it. Not apologizing, not worrying about what other people are saying, what people are going to criticize, how they're going to see you, how they're going to view you. Are you going to get the attention you want? Are people going to be on board with who you are and what you're saying? You have the vision, you have the idea, you have the purpose in mind. Now it's time to get after it. And that's all leading into what I call the win framework, right? How you win from within. That is my flagship talk. And if you don't know already, that is the name of the book that I'm currently writing. My first solo book. I've contributed to a couple of anthology books behind me, but yeah, this side here. And those have been great experiences contributing to these different chapters. But now it's time for the book, baby, right? I'm ingested, and fall is when the baby's coming out in October. That's when baby book is being born. So with that commitment, what does that require of me? It requires me to write the book. Wait. The book's not just going to appear out of nowhere. It's not going to just, no. Whether it's on my keypad, whether it's on my phone, whether it's actual pen to paper, scribbling ideas down, I have to write this thing. I have to think it through. I have to research and organize my thoughts coherently enough that someone reading this is going to say, that makes sense. I see myself in that story. I get that point. I understand these exercises. I'm doing them. It's making a difference. It's generating a change and a transformation within me. Now, what if I were just to say, hey, everybody, I'm going to write a book. Alex, how much writing have you done? A little bit. What's a little bit? Did you write something on a page every day? Did you add a sentence? Did you even add a word? Right? That's what I mean by like slow progress is better than no progress. It doesn't mean every day I'm on it. Yeah, there's days that I've skipped. But here we are in crunch time now, right? The window is getting smaller. We're in May. May just started. October, November it's coming, right? It's going to be here just like that. So what's required of me? Write the book, talk with the publisher, talk with the editor, get help from my peers who have written books, build up a launch team. Shout out to Robbie Samuels for these insights. But making sure that all these things are working at the same time, right? What's the media tour going to look like? What's the plan and action of ensuring that not only is the book written, but it's going to be read? It's one thing to write the stories and put all this work together, but if nobody's reading it, and what's right, coming back to Field of Dreams? If they build it, they will come. No, they won't. They ain't coming. Where are they? They're not here. I have to write it, and I have to also do the thing like this, market it, tell people about it, shout it from the mountaintops. This is the greatest book ever. Whether that's true or not, I'm gonna have to believe it, but I'm gonna write it in that intention, so that when I do go to organizations, tell them, hey, I have a great book for you. I go to local sports teams, hey, I have a great book for you. I gotta mean it. No one's gonna buy into it if I'm not bought in. So that's why I'm putting a lot of work into it. So just know that Win From Within playbook for building unshakable confidence coming out in the fall this year. So you'll hear more about that. So now coming back to the home, right? We're gonna land this painting pretty soon, because these episodes are typically, like I said, 3 minutes long. 3 minutes is simple for me. I can get an idea out without blabbering on too much, without yapping too much. Really short, sweet, concise, bite-sized, on with my day. And there are times where I'm like, oh, I want to say more. Well, that's when I get to make it a series. I get to go part 1, part 2, part 3, and expand on these ideas, but still keeping the integrity, the honor of the episode, 3 minutes. And that's fine for me. And for those who watch, those who are on board with this experience of love, serve, care, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for anyone who's listened, who's shared an episode, who's downloaded, who's gotten anything from what I've had to share, because it's taken a lifetime, and it will be something I do for my lifetime until I decide I don't want to do it anymore. But we're here at 2,000 episodes. The next one we're gonna make, right? We're gonna go for 3,000. So that's gonna take probably another 2 or 3 years to get to that, and we're gonna keep going and keep going and keep going. If this is something that I think that anybody can watch this and listen to this show and take something away from knowing that, man, this guy is doing something for 2,000 days in a row. Like, why? Well, I say, why not? I got something to say. This is the profession that I've chosen. This is not something that somebody's like strong arming me to. Like, oh, you better do a podcast every day. You get to choose however you deliver your message. You get to amplify it however you want. This is the vessel that I've chosen, the podcast world, and it's exciting for me because I get to connect with people. I get to put these things out. I get to share them out with event organizers if if the topic is relevant and if it makes sense. But it helps me just focus on the research, helps me focus on telling the stories, because this is a story that I used to tell myself that I'm not a good storyteller. Right, just probably one of the reasons I didn't go into stand up. I'm kind of a natural funny guy, but I'm like, oh, I don't know how to tell a joke or how to structure things, and then keynote, and how do you structure a keynote? How do you tell that? How do you stand in front of a room for 45 minutes, 60 minutes, saying words? Right, when you think about it, we boil it down to the ridiculous. I stand in a room, I say words, people listen, they do something different, and they pay me. If you think about it that way, it's like this doesn't make any sense. But people aren't just paying for the words; they're paying for what's going to be different once I'm outside of the room. Once they leave, they go back to their normal lives, their professions. Is there something that sticks? Is there something that stays in and that they can actually implement? And that's been the focus for my career, and it's something I keep refining, keep improving on. That's why I'm in so many communities. So shout out to National Speakers Association in Carolina chapter. Shout out to my High Noon Toastmasters. Shout out to the folks in Takoda, the Unicorns, to the A team who help keep me accountable, the Avengers, the Alliance Network, as I like to call them, and just people in my church family, people in my immediate family, and and communities, and the folks out there that have been supporting me from the sidelines. Even if and I know you're out there lurking. I know you're watching right now. I know you're lurking. And I love you anyway. And for the people who don't like me, for the people who are like, and I can't stand that guy, appreciate you too. Thanks, because there's always something I'm going to get. I'm always going to get the gold from what you share, from what you don't share, from who you think I am, from the perception you might have. But I'm all fine. I'm all good with that. I got the Heavenly Father on my back, inside my spirit, and that's why I do what I do. Like, this is why I love to love, serve, and care, and that's something that I embody, and I do my best to continue embodying. Because it's one thing to do the lip service. Yeah, I want to help and make sure we create, and then there's another part about being that, living that, and expressing that versus trying to be impressive with people. So with all that said and done, as we've done for 1,999 times, we're going to do this again every episode. We close it out the same way, because it's not just a tagline, it's not just a catchphrase, it's not just a slogan, but this is, for me, this is ingredient of me, right? If you want to cut me open, it's going to look like blood and plasma, it's going to look like bone, it's going to look like veins. But I want you to know that abundance is coming from me. There's freedom coming from me. There's dominant thinking coming from me. There's intentionality coming from me. There's work, there's networking, there's win from within. And when we get to win from within, man, imagine the difference we can make on the outside. If people are seeing themselves as champions, if people are seeing themselves and being MVPs of their life. Right? It doesn't mean that you're the best, doesn't mean you're greatest, doesn't mean I'm superior over you, but I'm the most valuable person to me, and I want to be the most valuable person to you. How can I serve you? How can I make a difference in your life? That's only going to start with me bringing it to you. So, as we get to close this out for the 2000th time, remember, you are born to live your life in abundance. You are the master of your future. You control your freedom, and you have complete dominance of your thoughts, your emotions, and your habits. Take care. God bless. Stay blessed. Happy 2000.